Number 10. Laughing at serious questions nervously. Ever been asked something serious like, "Are you okay?" And instead of answering, you just laugh? Not a real laugh, not a funny one. More like a desperate hiccup of emotion trying to escape through a smile. That's the first giveaway. The anxious laugh. It's not joy, it's camouflage. It's your brain hitting the panic button but disguising it as humor. Anxiety turns even simple questions into emotional landmines. When someone asks, "What's wrong?" the body senses threat, not concern. The mind flashes warning signs. Don't reveal too much. Don't make them uncomfortable. Don't seem weak. And so, out comes that awkward laugh. It's a reflex to fill silence, to buy time, to dodge vulnerability. It says, "If I can laugh, maybe you won't notice I'm drowning." Scientists call this a displacement reaction. Emotions get rerouted through inappropriate channels. The brain releases tension by making you giggle when you should cry, or smile when you're scared. It's like your nervous system trying to leak pressure before the whole machine bursts. You're not crazy for it. It's the body's primitive defense. Confuse the threat, act unbothered, stay safe. But here's the irony. This nervous laugh often isolates you more. The person across thinks you're being dismissive or weirdly carefree, while inside you're begging to be understood. Anxiety makes connection feel dangerous, so humor becomes armor. The tragedy? The laugh hides the very thing that needs healing. If you've ever felt this, cracking jokes mid-breakdown, laughing through tears, you're not alone. It's not your personality malfunctioning. It's your survival instinct misfiring. Your body learned that sincerity can hurt, so it trained you to laugh instead of confess. The next time that laugh escapes at the wrong moment, don't hate it. Notice it. It's your mind whispering, "I'm scared, but I still want to stay." Number 9. Over-explaining small mistakes. You spill a drop of coffee on the table, and suddenly, it's a courtroom drama. You start explaining how it happened, why it happened, how it usually never happens, and how you were just distracted because of that one stressful morning 3 years ago. The person across the table says, "It's fine," but you keep talking, apologizing, clarifying, as if your worth depends on convincing them you're not careless. That's the anxious brain at work, a relentless defense attorney for crimes that don't even exist. Over-explaining isn't about guilt, it's about fear. Fear that people will misunderstand you, judge you, or secretly withdraw affection. It's the anxiety of being misread, of someone thinking you're incompetent, rude, or thoughtless. So, you try to control the narrative with words. So many words that maybe they'll see your good intentions. But beneath that flood of explanations lies a painful assumption. I am always one small mistake away from being unloved. This behavior often begins in childhood. Maybe you grew up around people who snapped before understanding, or where mistakes had consequences that hurt more than they should have. Your brain learned a rule. If I can explain fast enough, maybe I'll stay safe. And that rule stayed, even when the danger didn't. Psychologists call this hyper-responsibility, the compulsion to fix every misunderstanding before it happens. It's exhausting, because anxiety doesn't just fear mistakes, it fears what those mistakes mean about you. That's why a tiny error can feel like a moral failure. You don't just spill coffee, you reveal your flaws, your chaos, your unworthiness. But here's the truth. Over-explaining doesn't earn peace. It postpones it. The more you justify yourself, the more your brain confirms the false idea that you must earn forgiveness. What you actually need is permission to be imperfect, unpolished, human. When someone says it's okay, believe them. You're not explaining the mistake anymore. You're explaining your anxiety's need to survive. Number 8, constantly tapping fingers or feet. Tap, tap, tap. You're sitting in a meeting, pretending to listen, but your legs bouncing like it's trying to escape. Your fingers drum against the desk in a rhythm your mind doesn't control. You tell yourself to stop, but a few seconds later, it starts again. That restless tapping isn't random. It's anxiety's Morse code, your body trying to speak what your mouth can't. When your brain is overloaded by thoughts, fears, or invisible pressure, it looks for escape valves. For some, it's pacing. For others, it's tapping, fidgeting, bouncing. The motion keeps you tethered, keeps your mind from drifting into the spiral. It's a way of grounding yourself when your thoughts start racing like a runaway train. Every tap is a silent reminder. I'm still here. I'm still in control. Neurologically, this behavior is linked to the fight or flight system. When anxiety spikes, adrenaline floods your body, preparing you for movement, even when there's nothing to fight or flee from. The energy builds, and since it has nowhere real to go, it leaks out through micro-movements. Tapping, foot shaking, nail biting. Your body's saying, if I can't escape, at least let me pretend I'm moving. People often mistake this for impatience or rudeness, but it's not about boredom. It's about survival. You're not restless because you don't care. You're restless because you care too much. The energy of fear has to burn somewhere, and your hands and feet become its outlet. It's anxiety trying to keep itself from exploding. What's haunting is how rhythmic it becomes, almost musical. The tapping syncs with the heartbeat syncs with the tension, and suddenly your body is composing a symphony of survival. The The real challenge isn't to stop tapping, but to listen. Because the rhythm isn't random, it's your nervous system humming its truth. So next time you catch yourself fidgeting, don't shame it. That's your anxiety moving through you, not controlling you. It's proof that your body hasn't given up. It's still fighting to stay calm in a world that rarely is. Number 7. Avoiding phone calls even from friends. Your phone lights up and for a second your chest tightens like someone just shouted your name in a dark room. It's not a stranger, it's your friend, the one you actually like talking to. But still, that cold jolt hits. You stare at the screen, heartbeat in your ears, waiting for the call to end so you can finally breathe. Then you text them instead. Hey, what's up? Because somehow typing feels safer than talking. This isn't laziness or antisocial behavior. It's anticipatory anxiety, the fear of what might happen before it even begins. Every ring feels like a demand. Be ready. Be articulate. Don't say the wrong thing. Sound normal. And anxiety hates live interaction. Texting gives you time to edit, rehearse, think. A call doesn't. There's no delete key for a spoken word. That unpredictability is unbearable when your mind already lives on overdrive. Psychologists say people with anxiety experience hypervigilance, a constant scanning for threats. Even a harmless call triggers mental checklists. What if it's bad news? What if I sound awkward? What if there's silence and I don't know what to say? Your brain, wired for survival, interprets social connection as potential danger. It's the perfect irony. Your body treats kindness like a threat, and so you avoid calls not because you don't care, but because you care too deeply. You don't want to ruin the vibe, disappoint, or reveal that your tone doesn't match your words. The phone becomes a stage, and you don't want to perform today. You'll reply later when your mask is steady again. But here's the heartbreak. Every ignored call deepens the illusion of distance. You lose connection while trying to protect it. Anxiety isolates not by force, but by whispering, "You'll mess it up if you answer." The truth is, you won't. Your friend isn't counting your pauses, they just want you. The imperfect, real you. The one who's scared, but still shows up eventually. Number 6. Checking things repeatedly, locks, emails. You leave the house, walk 5 steps, and suddenly, panic. Did I lock the door? You check once, twice, maybe 3 times. You know you locked it. You saw yourself do it, but the doubt is louder than memory. The same thing happens with your emails. Did you send it? Did you spell everything right? Maybe check again. Maybe one more time. Anxiety doesn't trust proof, it only trusts repetition. This is called reassurance seeking, and it's one of anxiety's cruelest loops. Your brain demands certainty in a world that doesn't offer it. The mind wants absolute control. No errors, no surprises, no what-ifs. But life doesn't work like that, so the brain starts bargaining. If I check again, I'll feel calm. For a moment you do, but then the calm fades, replaced by a new wave of doubt. So you check again, and again, until peace becomes impossible without ritual. Neuroscientists explain this as a glitch in the error detection system. The anxious brain struggles to register when a task is complete. It's like a smoke alarm that keeps going off even after the fire's out. You know logically that the door is locked, but your emotional brain hasn't gotten the memo. It keeps screaming, "Are you sure?" until you give in and obey. The tragedy is that each check teaches your brain that doubt equals danger. You're not solving anxiety, you're feeding it. Every time you recheck, you tell your nervous system, "I was right to worry." And so the cycle tightens its grip. But here's the truth most people miss. This habit isn't about obsession, it's about fear of consequence. The anxious mind imagines catastrophe in every forgotten detail. A door left unlocked means danger. An unchecked email means humiliation. Anxiety doesn't exaggerate the act, it exaggerates the outcome. The freedom starts not with perfect certainty, but with acceptance that life is never 100% locked. You did your part, you checked once. The rest belongs to trust, not terror. The door doesn't need another twist, your mind does. Number 5. Overreacting to unexpected noises. A door slams somewhere down the hall, and your whole body jolts like you've been plugged into an electric socket. The sound is ordinary, the reaction is not. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, and your breath shortens before your mind even has time to think. Then you feel embarrassed, confused, wondering why your body reacts like it's under attack when it's just the wind or someone closing a cupboard. That moment, raw and irrational, is anxiety revealing its most primal face. This is the startle reflex, a survival mechanism designed to keep us alive. Long ago, it helped our ancestors dodge predators. But in an anxious brain, that ancient reflex never really learned the difference between a tiger and a door slam. Your nervous system stays on high alert, running like software that refuses to close, ready for disaster even in safety. Anxiety rewires your amygdala, the brain's alarm center, to be hypersensitive. When it hears a sudden sound, it doesn't pause to evaluate, it reacts first, questions later. The result? You jump, freeze, or overreact before logic can intervene. It's not weakness, it's a system built for survival, living in a world that's no longer trying to kill you, but feels like it is. People around you might laugh thinking you're jumpy or dramatic. They don't see the biology, the body trained by years of vigilance, fear, or trauma. Your reaction isn't to the sound itself, it's to everything it represents. Unpredictability, loss of control, the reminder that peace can be shattered in a blink. Over time, this hyper-awareness becomes exhausting. Every noise is a potential alarm. Every silence feels like the calm before one. But there's a strange beauty in understanding it. Your body isn't broken, it's just overprotective. It's guarding you with outdated maps. The goal isn't to stop reacting, it's to teach your nervous system the truth. You're safe now. Each deep breath, each slow exhale tells your brain that the war it keeps preparing for ended long ago. Number 4. Blanking out in simple conversations. You're mid-conversation. Someone asks you something simple like, "How was your day?" And your brain just stops. The words are there somewhere, but suddenly it's like all your thoughts got erased by a blinding white light. You stand there, smiling awkwardly, nodding too much, praying your mind reboots before the silence becomes unbearable. That mental blackout isn't stupidity or shyness. It's anxiety hijacking your communication system. When your body senses social pressure, the fight-flight-freeze response activates. For many with anxiety, freeze is the chosen defense. Your brain floods with adrenaline meant to prepare you for threat, but in a conversation, that chemical storm becomes chaos. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for speech, reasoning, and recall, gets temporarily muted while your body focuses on survival. You're not forgetting how to speak, you're just physiologically locked out of your words. It feels humiliating because it happens in moments when you most want to appear normal. Anxiety whispers, "Say something smart, don't sound weird, don't pause too long." That internal pressure builds until your brain collapses under its own noise. Ironically, the harder you try to sound calm, the more your nervous system panics. Sometimes people mistake this for disinterest. They see the blank stare, not the mental hurricane. But inside, you're replaying every possible response, analyzing tone, anticipating judgment, all in the span of a few seconds. It's not that you don't care, it's that you care so much your brain overheats. The key isn't forcing words out, it's giving your body permission to pause, taking a breath, grounding through touch or sound, reminding yourself that silence isn't failure, it's recovery. You're not zoning out, you're rebooting from emotional overload. And when speech finally returns, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you brave. Because anxiety tried to silence you, and you still found words anyway. Number 3. Saying sorry excessively. You bump into someone and say sorry. You ask a question and say sorry. You start a sentence with sorry just for existing in someone's airspace. It slips out like a reflex, not a thought. And after a while, you don't even know what you're apologizing for anymore. This isn't about manners, it's about fear of being a burden. For the anxious mind, sorry becomes both a shield and a surrender. Every sorry is a preemptive peace offering, a small attempt to control how the world perceives you. You're not saying it because you did something wrong. You're saying it because you fear you might have. Anxiety keeps you constantly scanning for signs that you've inconvenienced someone, took too long to reply, spoke too loud, laughed too much. Sorry becomes your way of saying, "Please don't be mad. Please still like me." Psychologists link this to rejection sensitivity, the fear that even the smallest misstep could make others withdraw their affection, especially if you grew up in environments where anger, silence, or criticism felt unpredictable. Your brain learned early, apology equals safety. So now, adulthood feels like walking through a minefield of imagined offenses, and sorry is your armor against rejection. But here's the twist. Over-apologizing doesn't make people comfortable. It often makes them worry for you. It projects guilt where there is none, making interactions heavier than they should be. You end up apologizing for your presence instead of your actions. And that quietly teaches your own mind a cruel lesson. I exist at the cost of others' comfort. The truth? You don't. You're allowed to take up space, to speak without shrinking, to exist without constant justification. The next time sorry tries to escape, pause. Replace it with thank you. Sorry I'm late becomes thank you for waiting. Sorry I talk too much becomes thank you for listening. Gratitude softens what guilt hardens. And slowly, you teach your brain that you're not the problem. You're part of the conversation. Number 2. Overplanning every small outing. You're invited somewhere simple, coffee with a friend, maybe a quick trip to the store, and suddenly it turns into a full-scale operation. You map the route, check the weather, plan backup outfits, rehearse what you'll say, when you'll leave, and even how you'll escape if it feels uncomfortable. By the time you arrive, the actual event feels like the least exhausting part. That's not organization, that's anxiety trying to protect you from uncertainty. An anxious mind craves predictability like oxygen. Every unknown feels like a potential ambush, every spontaneous moment a trap waiting to humiliate you. So you plan, not to control others, but to calm the storm inside you. Planning becomes a ritual of safety. If I prepare for every outcome, nothing bad can surprise me. But the cruel paradox is that the more you prepare, the more fragile you feel when something doesn't go exactly right. This is the essence of anticipatory anxiety, living future events before they even happen. Your body reacts as if every possibility is already real, flooding you with cortisol, tightening your chest, speeding your pulse. You're not planning for joy, you're planning for survival. That's why even small outings drain you. They're never just coffee. They're mini missions where the battlefield is your own imagination. The anxious planner doesn't want perfection. They want control. Control over timing, emotions, impressions. Because somewhere deep down, they believe chaos equals danger. Yet life, in all its messiness, refuses to follow a schedule. And that's what terrifies most anxious minds. Not the plan going wrong, but having no plan at all. But here's the quiet truth. You don't need every step mapped. You only need the next one. Overplanning isn't failure, it's a love letter to your own fear. It says, I care enough to try to make the world safe for myself. The healing begins when you realize safety isn't built through control, it's built through trust. Sometimes the plan doesn't need more details. It just needs you to show up, even unprepared. Number 1. Freezing when asked direct questions. Why do you look upset? What do you want? What's wrong? 3 simple questions, yet they hit like gunshots. Your throat tightens. Your brain stalls, and the words vanish before they even form. You're not being dramatic, you're freezing. The anxious freeze isn't silence, it's self-defense. It's your mind saying, this feels unsafe to answer, even if no danger exists. Direct questions demand vulnerability. They corner you into choosing truth or disguise. For someone with anxiety, that choice can feel like walking a tightrope without balance. You fear your real answer might sound wrong, too emotional, too much. So your brain does the only thing that feels safe. It shuts down. It's not that you don't know what you feel. It's that the act of revealing it feels like exposure. This reaction comes from an overactive amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm. When faced with sudden attention or confrontation, it floods you with stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, meant for survival, not conversation. Your muscles tense, your breathing changes, and language centers in the brain go temporarily offline. It's biology, not weakness. But socially, it's torture. You replay the moment later, crafting all the perfect answers you couldn't say in real time. Anxiety always gives you eloquence, just 3 hours too late. You end up apologizing for the silence, feeling guilty for what your nervous system simply couldn't process fast enough. Here's what's important. Freezing isn't failure, it's your body's pause button, an instinct saying, let me think, let me feel safe before I speak. You can learn to honor that. Instead of forcing instant replies, say, I need a second to think, or even just breathe. That moment of stillness isn't awkward. It's healing, because sometimes silence speaks more truth than panic ever could. Anxiety doesn't steal your voice forever. It just asks you to find it slowly, gently, without fear of being heard.